Leslie Rogowski here with another Facebook Live. I see Marcia and Lolly. Welcome, welcome. We'll give people a chance to sign in. And you are going to be watching me show you how to do the flat braid. It's really, really fun. So, Paula, hola. Julie, hello, hello. Imran, hi. Beverly. I'm trying to follow on my iPad so I can see everybody who's joining in. I don't see it on the Beadsmith page yet, but I am waiting for it to start. But I think we're live. Hi, everyone. Hola, hola. Bienvenue. So I know that my partner in crime, Leslie Pope, is keeping an eye on things for me. And Leslie, you can always Facebook message me and I'll see it. I don't know why I don't see it on my laptop, but I have to give you a chance to buy our tools. I don't know what that is. Ohio, Peggy, Mary. Hello, hello. Okay, I'm going to get started since we're a little past 3 o'clock. So the flat braid cuff is kind of like a spiral, only it doesn't spiral. That's kind of silly to say that. But let me show you what's going on here. Here are 4 bracelets that I made using the flat braid. It's very simple. The materials are very easy. Basically, you have loops of seed beads attaching to a core of 4mm rounds or fire polish and size 8 seed beads. The person who was trying to sell materials during this on our Facebook page, please cut it out. That's just really bad form. Thank you. All right. So let's pull this back. There we go. These bracelets end with a symbol called Topolia. They're very simple. This is Topolia 2 because it has 2 legs, and you can see there's 4 metal colors: brass, antique silver, rose gold, and gold plate. And they just make a perfect little bar space here to add the end of the bracelet to, which is very handy and nice and clean. You can just add your clasp of choice to it. So these are all different colors. Today, let's take these away. Bye, eye candy. So the materials for this again are a core of 4mm and size 8s. And then size 11s and a different color, size 8. So there are the materials. I'm using a size 12 beading needle, Fireline 6-pound. And for my demo today, I'm actually not using the Topolia because I couldn't find them when I was doing my sample. But here you go. Here's another symbol. This one is called Scaffy 2 because it has the 2 legs. And you can see it's very similar to the Topolia. It's actually the same width inside the little space there. And I want to show you at the end that there's a lot of variations you can do. These bracelets are hugely stackable. You wear them together, obviously. They just look really cool when you're watching them together, when you're wearing them together. All right. So let's get started. I'm going to take my length of thread. Here we go. my length of thread, and I've put a stopper bead on it with about 12 inches of tail, because I'm going to use my tail thread at this end of the thread to attach the finding at the end. Now, usually I like to suggest that you use a separate thread to attach your closure just for security's sake, but for expediency's sake, for making it just a little more fast and easy and convenient, I have just left a tail. So Julie's saying you've seen this called flat spiral. Yes, indeed, but isn't that an oxymoron? Because things that are flat don't really spiral? But it is. It's just like a spiral. I'll show you my sample. But instead of having the loops go around like a circular staircase and you're stepping up for each one, these spiral loops go out from side to side symmetrically, or these loops actually, and they come out of the same place in pairs, and then you step up for a pair. It is. It's an oxymoron, I know. Sorry, Julie's laughing. Flat spiral. It's like jumbo shrimp, right? For those of you who might be wondering, what is an oxymoron? It's kind of an opposite in a phrase. So anyway, we're going to do a flat spiral. The cool thing about this stitch too is it really is easy, and you can use it for, besides bracelets, it makes wonderful necklace straps. You can use bigger beads and make it clunkier. But all that said, let's show you how to make it. How about that? I'm going to push some of my beads out of the frame and give myself some room to work where you can see it. All right, hope everybody's doing well on this Wednesday. Can't believe it's approaching the end of August. So you're going to start with a length of thread, put a stopper bead on it just for now, and the first thing you're going to do is string your core beads, an 8, a 4mm, an 8, a 4mm, and an 8, like this. Then you're going to string 5 11s, your other color 8, and 5 11s. Now you're going to come around and you're going to go up through the core beads that you just strung. So an 8, a 4mm, 8, 4mm, and 8. And you're going to come up through them and exit the 8 that you just strung. So you have the little loop. Now I'm going to make a symmetrical loop on the other side. So I'm going to string 5 11s. I'll call this color B8 and 5 11s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whoops. And the 8 that's on the loop, and 5 more 11s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Dana, Betty, hi. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. Now this is going to come up through those core beads again, and I'm going to sew it so that it's on the other side now. When you pick it up, you just want to make sure after you've gone through those core beads, you're going to spread these out so they're like wings on either side of the core. Don't go through your stopper bead, just go through the 8, the round, the 8, the round, and the 8. So now you have something that looks like this. Bring that up a little bigger so you can see. Nice and easy. Here's your tail. Here's your working thread. We need to build a little more of the core now in order to continue to sew. Now, if this were a spiral, you would be stepping up in different increments. So to keep this flat, I'm going to pick up a 4mm round and one of my color A8s. 4 millimeter and an 8. And I'm going to string that down to build the core. Now I'm going to string another loop. 5/11s, this beautiful matte transparent teal, 5 and 8 and 5/11s. Now obviously you can play with the length of your loops if you want and get nice and fringy. Whoops, one too many. You're going to bring those down. Now you're only going to come up, you always come up on this as you're building from the starting to the far end. You're always going to come up through a round first. Okay, let's see. Is that right? Sorry about that. Okay, you're going to come up through the previously strung round and 8 and the new round and 8. So there's the round and the 8 and the new round and the 8. So you're coming, you sew into a round and out through an 8. And you're going to do the same thing to the other side. Again, you're going to string just the loop. You don't need to string the round and the 8 because we already have that. So 5/11s, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and an 8, and the 5. 11s. And this goes on the other side of this piece. Let's see if we can bring it up a little bigger. There we go. And again, you're going to come up through 2 rounds back, a round and 8, and then most recently strung round and 8. And you want to make sure that your loops are spread out flat like this. And I like to work so the new loops that I'm doing are coming over the previous loops. Now I'm going to do it again. Remember, we pick up a round and an 8 in the core beads, like that. Then we do a loop of the 11s, and the other color 8 is the accent on the outside of the loop, and then 5 more 11s. And we're going to go back to the previously strung round and 8 and through the new round and 8 that you just strung, like that. And see how that lays over the other loop? Now again, we don't have to add any more core beads. We're just going to add the loop on the other side of the seed beads. 5 11s, the accent 8, and 5 11s. Now I'm sort of looking through my beads as I'm stringing them, because sometimes even with the most uniform batches, the beads are different thicknesses, you know, different widths, and I want to try to keep things uniform. Sometimes you get like really skinny, flatter beads, and you can put them aside and save them for other times when you're going to need a skinny bead. But right now I want them all the same size. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This goes on my left side, and I'm going to go back through the previously strung round and 8 in the core, and then the most recently strung round and 8 in the core, and pull that loop. And we're going to build this just like that for as long as you need your bracelet to be. So now I want to show you how to put the end on, because this is really all there is. Pretty easy, right? you're just going to build this as long as you need. If it's a necklace strap, obviously, you may have to add thread. I really liked the thread splicing with a thread zap, or you can weave it in and have to know how to end and add thread. That's a lesson for another Facebook Live. So let's say we're ready to put the end on. All right, so I'm going to pick my gold Topolia right there. And the Topolia, like I said, has 2 legs and there's holes through either side and the little loop at the end that you're going to use with the jump ring to attach your clasp. So in order to fit in the middle here, let's find one that's visible to show you. Well, you can see this. On this one, you can see that there's 4 size 8s. I'll bring it in a little closer. We're going to add 4 size 8s, and depending on the size of the bead and how thick they are, you may or may not need to add an 11 in between the 2 pairs. It's really easy no matter which way you do it, so I'm going to show you how to do this. So the first thing we're going to do is pick up 2 size 8s. I'm going to pick up my seafoam green just so you can see them against the finding. And I'm going to sew from inside out, right from the piece, through one of the legs of the Topolia. Just like this. These symbols are just great. They're so versatile. Now I want to sew back through, but obviously my thread would come off. So I'm going to string an 11 to make what we call a rivet bead. And I call it a rivet because it's going to hold that in place. So I have my 11. I'm going to string that down. It's on the outside of the Topolia leg. I'm not going to sew back through that bead. I'm going to sew back through the leg of the symbol and 2 size 8s that I just strung. And I'm going to pull that snug to my beadwork. I'm holding the little 11 so it puts less stress on my thread. So that's there. Now I'm going to string 2 more 8s and go out the other leg from inside out. Now you're going to be able to see, there we go, that there's a little bit of space here. So what I'm going to do to fill the space without it showing a lot is I'm going to pick up another rivet, another size 11 for the other side, and I'm going to come back through the Topolia leg and through the 8s, and then I'm going to pick up an 11 to fit in the middle to spread these 8s out so they fill the width of the finding. So I have my 11 and I'm sewing back through the leg of the symbol, the Topolia. So that stays. Now I'm going to pick up an 11 to fill that little space. And I'm going to repeat the thread path by going out through the first 2 8s that in this step, out the Topolia leg. And now the 11 is filling out and pushing the beads aside so it really fits that space. I'm going to sew through the little rivet 11 and then sew back through the Topolia, all the beads in the middle, and back again. And I'm just going to turn this so I have access. And I'm going to sew, you don't have to do it in one fell swoop, but sometimes I can. There we go. So I have brought my needle back through the Topolia. I came out the 11, but I'm not sewing back through the 11. It would just pull the thread out. So I'm going back through the symbol Topolia leg and through all the beads that I just strung in between and out the other Topolia leg like this. And you can repeat this if you want for security, but I'm just going to finish it off by sewing through the little rivet bead and back into the tapolia and into the beadwork. And now I'm going to sew back down into the piece. I think I'm going to sew through that 11 too. Make sure you guys can see this. Sorry, I'm holding it up really close to the camera. Okay. And now I'm going to sew right down my core beads. And I will sew off this thread. And here's my method for sewing off the thread. So I'm down now into the beadwork. Let's get a little ways away. Basically, when you finish off a piece of thread in here, you want to, the tutorials and patterns and things might say, secure your thread in the beadwork and trim. So my method of securing thread in beadwork is to find a place where I can make a half hitch around existing threads. So I'm just going to bring my needle around the threads that are already there. I don't know if you can see this, but I've caught the threads in the middle. Well, I'm trying to catch the threads in the middle. There we go. Okay, so my needle is under the threads and the beadwork, and I have this loop of thread coming up, and I'm going to bring my needle through that. That makes a hitch around existing threads. Now I can sew down a little bit more in the beadwork and do the same thing. There we go. Go under an existing thread between beads, make the little loop, come through the loop, and pull that hitch around the threads, and then I weave the little thread in and I can trim it. There we go. That's it, you guys. What you would do next, obviously you're going to have a long piece of bracelet here. I had started this one. And you're going to do the same thing that you just did to attach the finding at one end on the other end. You're going to remove the stopper bead. You're going to sew out with the 2/8 to come through the tapolia with the little rivet beads and back and forth. Add the 11 in the middle to fill in any space if it's necessary, and then weave back in. Now you'll notice that on the bracelets, one end, here, let's do it like this. This end, you can see that they start from the core and they come under. And at the other end, they start from the core, from under the core, and they come over. It's not going to matter. You're still going to be able to attach your finding, just like I said. All right, so that is what I was calling the meet you in the middle bracelet. It's the flat braid. The next thing you would do after you have your tapolias on is use a jump ring and get yourself on there.
I just want to let you know that
and you can hear
in about 6 minutes in the main room, I'm just getting
what you hear is
on site in the office to go over.
Here we go. Sorry. I have too many computers going. Here we go. The flat braid bracelet. I believe that somewhere in the chat we have the PDF posted. Yes, Leslie? I can see you if you just want to nod. Okay. We'll get it posted. And of course, everything that we do on Facebook Live for the Beadsmith is on our I Love Beads page, which is, there's our little logo. I don't know why it's in black and white. I think I'm running out of red ink. There we go. So beadsmith.com/I love beads. A library of completely free tutorials. All of them free. Check it out. They're all a PDF that you can download. And you know that you can find the 4mm, 11s, 8s, symbol findings, the Topolia, Scoffy, and other Beadsmiths quality beads, tools, and supplies from your favorite bead reseller. Woohoo! You see a metal piece on the ring. These and these are other symbols. These are bead substitutes that you can weave in. Here, I'll give you a peek. There is in I Love Beads, in the symbol category, a ring tutorial to show you how to do this. So let's see if you can see this. The ring is the symbol is a little shank. It's like a little shank button, and you just sew through it like you would sew through your Delica or your size 11, and it sits on top of the other beads. That's how these work. This is a pretty little flower. So, any other questions? Everybody get that? It's pretty basic. The spiral, I guess I can show you another time, another day. There's my rings. But meantime, thank you so much for watching. This was really a fast little Facebook Live. And thanks everybody for tuning in. The Amudi. Thank you. I appreciate that. So look for the tutorial on I Love Beads along with other tutorials. Support your local bead shops and your favorite vendors, and especially the designers who share their tutorials with you. You're welcome. Motorcrafts. Thank you for coming and being a regular. Everybody stay safe, okay? We love beads. See ya.